So I came out here 16, next week it'll be 16 years that I'm in Qatar. 16 years since I started the company. I moved out here from San Francisco, California in 2008 with my wife. We had a beautiful house on the Berkeley Hills with the view of the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge, and we were yuppies. I was doing management consulting and she was in Gap headquarters. I sold everything to come to Qatar in 2008.
Nice.
So people, of course, coming here thought I was mad, crazy. But, you know, fortune favors the brave. And my wife and I were ready for an adventure. We had a friend, a Qatari friend, who said, you know, Qatar is booming. And you can imagine back then, Qatar, no one heard of it. People are like, where are you going? Do you have to cover up completely?
Especially in that time.
Exactly. They asked my wife, are you allowed to drive? Yeah, people have very, very different mindset. You know, so we came out here, and you can remember how it was in 2008. It was very, very different. I took the money from the house I sold, and I invested it to start this company here with my partner, who left now, and we grew it to what it is today. And so I was always in technology and focused in IT, and that's basically what we do. So, of course, in 2012, when we were awarded the World Cup, we had a lot of major projects here, the stadiums, the airport, the hospitals, hotels, etc., focusing on the technology within each of these infrastructures. So it was a great time for us. Okay, let's go back before that even, and why I came and made the circle to come back here. Actually, in 1948, my father, Allah yarhamu, he was forced out of Palestine from Jaffa. He was 19 years old. He had to support his family. And at the time, CAT, which is a contracting company, had a project by Dukhan, up near, not an hour and a half from here. So in 1948 and 49, my father spent 2 years here in Qatar, working in the desert back then for one of the pipelines there. So my connection to Qatar goes well beyond when I came here. After that, he went to university and so forth and continued. When I was born, actually, the war in Lebanon had started, so my family, they moved to Saudi. So actually, I grew up in Khubar, near Jam al-Dammam, Dhahran. And I spent my younger years there before going to Switzerland and then the US for schooling, working there, and then coming here. So we had early ties to Qatar from the early days. When I came here, actually, I landed with my suitcase here at the airport, and my family hadn't come yet. And I looked, it was chaos, and I said, this is the biggest mistake in my life. What am I doing in this zoo? Because it was chaos. Never mind. I went to the apartment, and bit by bit, I started building the company. In fact, I started with a room this small, alone, with just a phone and a computer, saying, okay, who do I call now? And I spoke with companies here, the big vendors, and they're like, what are you doing here, basically? I said, I'll get it started. So then it was difficult. The first year, my brother joined me. Thankfully, he stayed with me for about 5, 6, 7 years to help get the company up and running. He came from the US, and we started to get our first big project a couple of years later. And then we grew very organically. So we started with, for example, network, and then we started adding cameras, and then audiovisual, etc. grew until we grew to a phase where the stadiums were doing the complete giant screen, the audio, everything, end to end, and all the integrations. So that's how we grew the company. I don't remember, in the early days, it's very, very different. When you got your residence permit, you had to wait in line to get a blood test, and then you have to wait in line somewhere else where you're half naked with your shirt off to do a chest x-ray for tuberculosis. And actually in line, I met someone who became a very good friend afterwards. So in the early days, to get up and running, was difficult. But honestly, if it was easy, everybody would do it. This is why people don't start companies or come to the middle of nowhere to do it. So as we grew the company, we were fortunate, of course, to get awarded the World Cup, and everything after that was really given to us. So it was good timing because the country, the leadership wanted to build the country, but they needed people to do it.
The development in the Qatar in that time, as you mentioned, Mr. Wissam, Qatar is booming in that time.
Yeah, it was. There was a time frame. They wanted to build the country for the long-term vision. They did in 50 years. What would take 50 years, did it in 10 years, which is incredible. So we came here. We're fortunate to be part of this. Honestly, I built quite a big company here. I couldn't have done it anywhere else in the world. Because they wanted to do it. They supported me in the sense that I was able to, as a young company, get work, get big projects. So I like to think that the company grew, but the country grew as well. So everyone grew together. If you're willing to invest time and money and sacrifice, you grow and you get repaid with the benefits. My general manager can talk in more details about that, but we're really focused on technology solutions. So what generally known as IT, but we focus on the construction sector. So a building like this, you need internet infrastructure, you need Wi-Fi, you need phones, you need security cameras. We do all that and we have integration to it. So for example, at the extension in the airport for the Western taxiway, the latest extension, we were the main contractors for all the technology there. So again, the network, the security, the coordinating with the Ministry of Interior, the building management system, fire alarm, etc., etc. We do all that and we integrate everything together. So we can do large projects. Stadiums, worked on 3 of the stadiums also, the technology solutions on it, hospitals, Hamad Hospital, etc., and so forth. So obviously we followed the construction industry, okay? Now, the thing is, in 2012, 2010 actually, we were awarded the World Cup. You knew there was 12 years of a lot of work. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out the work's going to end. Yeah. 2022, like any major infrastructure project, that's it. They built the country. So prior to that, we had to figure out a way to sort of pivot away from the core service of construction. And if you want to continue construction, obviously this is not the place to be. Khalas, we did our work, we're done. The country is built, it's beautiful. If you want to do construction, go to Saudi, go to Dubai, go somewhere else. Okay, so we understood that, so we started with Saudi. But the country now is in a different phase of development. Like I said, they built the country, we're done. And I have other startups and technology companies I started and I based them out of Qatar. For example, another company, Emma Systems, we focus on airport solutions. So we have an airport software platform, deployed the first version early on Hamad Airport, and we kept the company in Qatar, and now we have clients all over the world, in Europe, Africa soon, and so forth. And what's important to remember is actually this company was based in the US, Delaware, Emma Systems, where I started it. After October 7th, I canceled it and I brought everything to Qatar for ethical reasons and moral reasons and so forth. So I have everything based out of here. Now the world has changed a lot in that people no longer look down on us as Arabs as much as they used to. They still do, of course, but not as much as they used to. And why I say that is because when you have in our region, we have Hamad Airport. I'm talking specifically aviation now, in the airport. In this country and in the region in general, we have the newest and the most advanced airports in the world. So what we're able to do is leverage that. So we can export this know-how to the world. So when I speak to airports in Europe, in the US, in Asia, Africa, the fact that we're here in and of itself is a huge advantage to us. And they want to know how we do things here, what's the best practices. So for a change, instead of just exporting oil and gas, it's what we're good for to the rest of the world, that's all they see. We are actually exporting know-how to the world. So our development team is in Jordan, our core headquarters are here. We have also offices in Finland and Belgium also. But everything is done out of Qatar. And the IP, intellectual property, remains in Qatar. And people don't care that we're here. They don't care where we are. But what I think is important, it's to leverage what the country has spent so much money on, an investment in the past 20 years. Aviation industry is one of them. So they focus Qatar Airways, Hamad Airport. I'm going to leverage that to take it to the world. So if people want to do something based here, I would suggest they leverage what's been invested here. You know, if you want to work in banking or you have an idea for a software company in banking, you leverage QNB, work with QNB, that's a global reference. You want to do something hospitality and hotels, they have Qatar Hospitality, it's a global reference. You want insurance, you have QIC. You want oil and gas, you have Qatar Energy. You have so many advantages to leverage here. The country's done it all for you. They're not going to keep giving you stuff, giving you projects and all that. Leverage what the country's invested in and use it as your platform to the world. So one of the advantages we've had, Qatar is a very small country, but it's had flagship projects, world-class flagship projects. Never in my life would I imagine working on FIFA stadiums. But I worked on 3 FIFA stadiums, I'm qualified, I know what FIFA requirements want. Guess what, I can pick up that know-how now and go to the US to work in FIFA stadiums, Saudi to work in FIFA stadiums, Morocco or Spain or Portugal.
You have a lot of experience now.
We worked on world-class airports, Hamad Airport. I have a reference list that nobody else in the world can brag about. Like, it's an amazing reference. And the standards in Qatar are very, very high. When you work on these projects, the consultants that you deal with and the project managers, they have a high standard because during this time, they brought in world-class talent. So the level went from here to here of the quality of work here. The other thing for us specifically is we work on large, complicated projects. Like I mentioned, the stadium, airport, etc., where you have a huge scope to do, and you have to manage teams of contractors below you, and then integrate everything together. And not a lot of people can do that in the world. You might have big names, big system integrators that are huge, but a regional one like us, there's a handful of them here, and what we're able to do is export this to the region as well. When you move to Qatar, everybody comes here on a work visa, صح? So meaning, 3 years, go home, basically. And that's the mentality people have. This is in the early days. But you see many, many people that are staying much, much longer. And when I used to talk with my wife, we used to say, all right, after Qatar, work is done, where do we retire? Where do we go? Where do we build a house, etc. And what I find, the conversation has stopped now because what I realized we're going to retire here in Qatar. There's nowhere else I'd want to live now. Sure. And when you fly anywhere to Europe, to the US, to Asia, and then you come back here, just landing in the airport, you're like, back to civilization. Yeah. People are nice, it's a clean country, it's new, services are available, infrastructure, everything is brand new, that you realize it's tax-free. You realize that you by virtue of living here, you've created your home here. Okay, so I think that's an important fact because what the mindset shifts to say, okay, this is now my base, now and for tomorrow and forever. Therefore, entity I create, any company, any vision will be based here. Not temporarily. No, this is the base here. Family office will be here in the QFC. Etc., etc. So I'm very much focused on technology. And something like software technology means you can be based anywhere in the world and then operate from there and then target the world, because it's all digital and virtual, which is exactly what we're doing with the EMMA, the airport software company. So, and I also want to support the young entrepreneurs and technology here. So I invest in local companies and local startups and give them seed money to see them grow, and also mentor them, because you don't have the startup ecosystem here yet. Technology startup, it's being developed, but it's not there. So I like to work with the startups. I like to work with QSTP to seed and to help grow this ecosystem, startup ecosystem mentality for the local talent, and also to attract people from outside that come here, live here, base your technology company here, and start growing that ecosystem out of it here. Because as I mentioned before, the country is in the next phase now. And I think part of our responsibility as business owners is to help seed the next phase. So I'm pushing a lot on startups, technology, and that vision for the country. So if you talk with my team now, you'd be surprised. A lot of them have been with me for 10, 15 years. Some of them since the beginning. My technical lead, engineer Jeff, he's been with me since the beginning. General manager, he's been with me 11, 12 years almost. And I think that one of the differentiators I have here is people are surprised when they hear that I'm Lebanese or Arab, because I'm very nice to my employees. The mentality is that you need to have your employees build the company with you. The mentality you see here is I'm the boss and then you're all below me, or I tell you what to do. You see that a lot here. But how can you shouldn't convince your employees to stay up late working in the office. They should want to do it voluntarily. And so you need to create this culture within the company that I'm not building the company, we're building the company. And everything I have here is to their credit and to their hard work. Now, there's a very good book called Good to Great. And one of the key aspects there is, hire good people first. Don't worry about the work, even though you have no money coming in. Hire the good people first, and then everything will fit into place afterwards.
Sure.
And through difficult times, as you know, we have good times and bad times here. We faced a lot of difficulties here. Starting with the embargo, of course, and then COVID right after that, and now all the major work is finished. When you have a solid team, through each hurdle, you work together. And there are times, I gotta tell you, in the early days where I really thought it was the end. Like, I lost 3 major projects and I had no more money. And I had to, talk to the team about salaries and all that. But a few months later, we won a huge project at the airport. So if the team feels feels your pain and sees your vision, and ultimately it's not my company, it's all our company. It's not an ego thing, because I'm here to grow a company and support people. When you say you have a company, you have a responsibility, you're not just supporting several hundred people, you're supporting several hundred people and their families. So it ends up being thousands of people below that. Yeah, I'd say thanks for the good times. I'd also say that I think it's a very difficult balance to open the country, because, like I said, the country needs to be built. How do you open the country but keep it safe and keep control and make sure the crooks don't get away with it? Because it's a country people can come, take money and leave, and how do you track them down? So it's a very difficult balance. So I think they've managed it better than I would have managed it, for sure. They managed it very well in keeping that balance of not opening the country so much that it loses its soul, like some of our neighbors. It still has its soul. And I think that I'm pretty amazed by sort of, to be part of the journey. Sometimes you're in the forest, so I just see the tree in front of me. But when you leave and you come back and you see what's been built, and to be part of the journey, I think has been, pretty amazing. I don't think anything is like this. So we get used to it, okay? But I have, for example, family that come visit me maybe once a year, and they see over 15 years. Every time they come, they're like, what's... Because they're coming from Europe where it's been the same for 500 years. When they come here and it changes every year, and they see the advancement in every aspect, and just it leapfrogs with regard to the procedures, to processes, to the visa process. It's just moving forward. And I think it's not easy it's a very difficult job from the leadership to do that, because you have a lot of balls to juggle. I forgot to mention one point with the leadership here. What we forget is they're very approachable. If you see them in the street, like we were somewhere and we saw His Highness Sheikh Tamim, we went up and we spoke to him and we took a picture with him. Nicest person. You can't imagine what a nice person or a nice conversation we had. So you don't find that anywhere else. Top leadership is so approachable. Anyway, now to your point, who do I thank?
Yeah, who can be deserved thank you from?
Well, it's not easy to convince someone to leave everything and come to Qatar. Yeah. But of course, one of the people I would thank is my wife. She said, let's do it, let's go to Qatar. She came here with nothing. At least I had work. She had nothing. She built up her network of friends. Now she is a leader in the...
It's a lot of sacrifice.
It's a lot of sacrifice at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because after a year being here, we realize we're happier here, even in the early days when it was desert and dust and all that. We're happier here than living in a fancy house in San Francisco. Sure. It's just because it's a family community. We're closer to the rest of the world. We're closer to Europe, Asia, Africa. And although she did, give up there, but after a year, she won't leave Qatar for sure. She's the happiest here. So again, it's what you make out of it. Life is not supposed to be difficult or easy. Life is life, and you just live it. And it's what you make of it. So whether you're happy or not, you're right. It's all in your head ultimately. So yeah, that's one person I would thank.
Yeah.
أهلا بقناة سما الخليج معانا. أهلا بيكم. حابب أعرفكم على بهيج جورج. أنا من مصر، خريج دفعة 2003 كلية الهندسة. اشتغلت في مصر لمدة 3 سنين، ومن ثم جيت على قطر بال2006، وده كان بداية المشوار هنا ليا في دولة قطر. بعد كده بديت أدخل على مانجمنت ليفلز في شركات مختلفة هنا، إلى إن احنا النهاردة أنا شغال بشركة انفورماتيكا قطر IQ، المدير العام بشركة انفورماتيكا قطر، مسؤول عن كل خدمات المتعلقة بالمبيعات وبالبروجكت مانجمنت، إدارة المشاريع، وبإدارة الهندسة الانجينيرينج ديبارتمنت. خلصت في 2018 هنا في دولة قطر الMBA مع جامعة HEC باريس، ودوت كان بالنسبة لي برضو a big journey transformation، لأن دوت أخدنا على different level في المانجمنت سكيلز. أنا مع شركة IQ من سنة 2011، تمام، وكنا مبدئيا شركة مكان أصغر من دوت بكتير. بدأنا في مكتب يمكن يكون أكبر من مكتب احنا فيه دلوقتي مرتين بالكتير، لأنه الحمد لله شوية بشوية بدينا ناخد مشاريع أكتر بدولة قطر، وبدينا نكبر في كل السولوشنز اللي احنا بنقدمها في الدولة هنا.
ما شاء الله. أستاذ بهيج، لو فينا نحكي اليوم على أهم الخدمات اللي قدمها من داخل شركتنا IQ.
طيب شركة اي كيو هي شركة عندها مجموعة مختلفة من الخدمات. فاحنا بالنسبة لشركة اي كيو هي شركة اي تي، فاحنا بنقدم خدمات ليها علاقة بحلول الاي تي. في 2012 بدينا نتوسع من خدمات الاي تي الى خدمات بنسميها ELV Extra Low Voltage او Low Current Systems، اللي هي الخدمات الخاصة بالفيزيكال سيكيورتي، اللي هي زي خدمات السيكيورتي كاميراز، الكاميرات المراقبة، الاكسس كنترول، الابواب الالكترونية، وكل ما يتعلق بالفيزيكال سيكيورتي. وبعدين في سنة 2013 2014 بدينا نتوسع في ديبارتمنت تانية اللي هي ديبارتمنت الاوديو فيجوال، الاي في ديبارتمنت، وهي الديبارتمنت الخاصة بالصوتيات والمرئيات. فاحنا عندنا سيرفيس ليها علاقة بالاي تي، ليها علاقة بالفيزيكال سيكيورتي، وليها علاقة بالاوديو فيجوال. دي كلها تعتبر جزء من الخدمات اللي بتقدمها شركة اي كيو. الخدمات ديت بتبتدي من بداية الديزاين، الانجينيرينج، البروجكت مانجمنت، الامبلمنتيشن، كمان الاوبريشن اند مينتنس. فاحنا بنقدم للكلاينت وان تورنيك سولوشن، بيبتدي من بدايه انه عنده ريكويرمنتس معينه الى تسليم المشروع نهائيا، كمان بالاوبريشنز اند مينتنس الخاصه بيه. وكمان السنه اللي فاتت اي كيو عملت اكسبانشن بدوله السعوديه، فدلوقتي احنا عندنا الخدمات اللي بنقدمها في دوله قطر، وكمان بنقدمها في السعوديه. خلال الرحلة الطويلة ديت من الشغل والعمل لازم أقول إنه أقدم شكر خاص للعيلة عندي، زوجتي وبناتي، لأن هم كانوا سبورت ليا قوي جدا خلال كل الفترة اللي فاتت، سواء في المجال الأكاديمي أو كمان في المجال المهني، مع كل الأمور المختلفة اللي مرت هنا. كلنا عارفين إن البيزنس عمره ما بيمشي بطريقة واحدة، انه يكون باستمرار بيتقدم لقدام، لكن اوقات تانية اوقات بيحصل دروب، اوقات بتحصل تشالنجز، واحنا واجهنا هنا بعض التشالنجز موجودة كأي بيزنس. لكن شكرا طبعا للعيلة كلها اللي كانت بجانبنا في طول الفترة اللي فاتت. وكمان بشكر التيم اللي هنا بانفورماتيك قطر. احنا عندنا اقدر اقول ان اهم اسيتس في الشركة هو التيم اللي موجود. فاحنا عندنا تيم كوميتد لويال لشركة انفورماتيكا قطر. معانا في ناس بقالهم اكتر من 15 سنة في الشركة هنا. فده اعتقد من اكتر الامور اللي بتكون مصدر لنجاح الشركات، هو ان يكون عندنا تيم، التيم دوت عنده لويالتي للشركة، لويالتي للمكان. التيم بيقدم افضل ما عنده علشان الشركة تفضل مكملة، لانه في شركات كتيرة ممكن نقول during الكوفيد او الكلام ده كله struggled وكانت عندها مشاكل كتيرة، لكن احنا الحمد لله قدرنا بمساعدة كل التيم ان احنا نقدر نكمل في الشركة ونكبر. وسنة عن سنة الحمد لله احنا كان في باستمرار بروجرس بالشركة. كمان بقول انه اهم جزء كمان بيساعد انه الشركة تستمر هو فكرة الثقافة اللي موجودة جوه الشركة وبيئة العمل اللي موجودة. ودي كمان اقدر اقول امر تاني بتتميز بشركة اي كيو، ان هنا ثقافة وبيئة العمل هي بيئة عائلية. فاحنا بنعتبر كلنا هنا كعيلة كبيرة، في نوع من انواع الشفافية في التعامل ما بين الموظفين مع الإدارة. تمام. زائد كمان بنحاول باستمرار بنحسن من الموظفين انهم باستمرار يكونوا بيتعلموا، بيتدربوا، بياخدوا كورسز علشان يكونوا بيكبروا بالمواهب اللي عندهم، سواء على المستوى التكنيكال، المستوى الفني، او كمان على المستوى اللي بنسميه السوفت سكيلز.